Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 records video. I'm posting this as an alternative to the mono box because one of the comments I got from the video was, conclusion of the video, go and pay the scalpers. And the scalpers are making a lot of money from the mono box because they might have bought it for 200 or 250 euros or dollars when it got out, and they are going for about 1,500 to 2,000 right now. And I'm going to say the following. Do not pay these prices. Not just because you can buy other Beatles albums, but because the album of the box is not the most definitive version. It is an amazing box. And some of the versions might be the best ones around, especially in the condition they are. But I did some comparison. I did some comparison myself. And I went online to search what are the best pressings, what are good alternatives, what are versions of these early Beatles albums, of these Beatles albums, which are as good as a mono version or might even sound better. So I did some research, I got my own collection out, and this is the beginning of a 3-part video in which I'm gonna talk about alternatives for the Beatles 2014 mono box. And I'm gonna kick off with the first album, Please Please Me. Now, what I'm holding right now, is the 2013 version, and they did a great job on the cover art. The label is exactly like the original one, and it sounds gorgeous, it sounds beautiful. But I'm gonna take you on a journey. The first time I bought this album, I bought this pressing. I bought a stereo pressing. I'm not gonna get into the differences between stereo and mono, because not only is the mix different, there are also different takes on these versions. So what I try to do is I try to get the stereo pressings and I try to get the mono pressings. And when I got this, I believe this is the first Dutch stereo pressing, I thought it's not my record. It's just not a very interesting Beatles record. That was what I thought initially. Then I found online a third UK mono. This is my third UK mono. The third UK mono does not have the initial label, it has the Parlophone label. But this was pressed 1 month after the first version of the Beatles. Now, when I put this on, mono needle on there, blew me away. The album comes to life. Please Please Me in an early Beatles mono pressing sounds so much better. And this was pressed just a month after the first one. And I compared it to the 2014 version, and I prefer this one. And I will tell you why. The 2013 version is, of course, mint. Sounds very good. This one sounds even a bit fuller. It seems as if it does have a little bit of more mid-range, and what I really like is there's a certain dynamic to it, there's a certain punch to it. This sounds more daring. When I listen to a song like I Saw Her Standing There or Baby It's You, my favorite song of this record, it really has a drive, it really has a punch, and I prefer this old pressing. Now, it gets me to an interesting point, which also was pointed out by Steve Hoffman. He wrote this on his forum. That's also why I bought this UK stereo one. This is what I wrote down on it. Original matrix number. If you find a Beatles pressing, it might even be a later 60s pressing, it might be a 70s pressing, it might even be an 80s pressing before 82. If it has the original matrix numbers, if it was used by the original stampers, you can get a very good sounding version. This stereo version sounds pretty good. I'm not a stereo Beatles fan. I prefer the mono versions, but this one sounds very good. So does the third one. So this is one of the biggest tips I can give you. Go ahead and search for the original matrix numbers, because they changed the cutting system after, I believe, 68. So they improved certain elements. So there are 70s pressings which sound even better or are possibly better sounding than the originals. So I prefer the third mono pressing above the 2014 pressing. So there are lots of options there. You do not have to go and pay scalpers incredible prices. Another case, the second album with the Beatles. Love this album, great album. What I'm holding here is, of course, a beautiful pressing of With the Beatles, the 2014 version. And to my surprise, I compared it to the first UK mono, and to be quite frank, I didn't hear a lot of difference. This one equals the original pressing. It's a very, very good pressing. Now, if you are not gonna buy the 2014 version, buy an original UK mono. And these are not hard to find. I mean, I'm holding one here, I'm holding another one here. These are not hard to find. I compared, by the way, I'm trying not to do the comparison with the stereo pressings, but I also found an early 70s stereo pressing. This was pressed with the original matrix numbers from the stereo one. Not bad at all, but then again, stereo, you know. Go with the original UK mono, and I believe I bought both of these for about €5. You can find them. They were sold in large numbers. Now, I'm gonna go to the next album. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, if you're searching for Please Please Me, I haven't found this one yet, but I'm searching after the Die Beatles pressing. So the Germans, the first German pressing, the one that says Die Beatles, that should even sound better than the original UK ones. And for the, so if you come across one, if I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna tell all about Die Beatles versus the Please Please Me original ones. But for now, go UK. A Hard Day's Night. Again, the 2014 version is good. Sounds nice, sounds quiet, beautiful pressing, but compared to a first UK mono, which again, I paid €15 for it. This should be able to, you should be able to find this. I mean, this one beats it. This one beats this one. And I think the difference is quite there because, again, it has to do with a certain roughness. This is an edgier recording. I believe the dynamic is also better than the other one. It's in the vocals. I hear it in the drums. Of course, this is a great pressing. Great pressing. Anyone who has them, be happy you found one. But if you're not, if you don't have the mono one, the 2014 mono, go ahead and buy an original UK mono or an original, or just a mono with the same stampers, with the same code on there, because they sound great, they sound all right. Now, I put these over here, and then we're going to the Beatles For Sale. And this is kind of the same story. This is an okay pressing. It's okay. It's a very, very, very good mono pressing. Very happy that this was released. It's a very good pressing. Also the artwork, I can't stress out enough how well of a job they've done on the artwork. I'm gonna compare it to the original mono one I have here. And although the mono one I have, you can see this is not near mint. This is not near mint one. Compare the two of them, this one sounds edgier. And I believe I kind of found out what the difference between this one and this one is. Because when you listen to the vocals on the first song, I hear that Lennon's voice goes a bit towards distortion. Not completely, but you hear a natural element of distortion, and they just left it in there. It sounds beautiful. I love a little bit of distortion in my rock and roll, but it's a natural element of distortion. I believe it's in the highs, and my guess is that this one, my guess, they must have left it out. Did they do it using equalizing? I'm not sure. This one has an edgier sound. I have the feeling that I hear more from what was going on. Now, you really need that with the Beatles, because when you listen to the original mono ones, or the ones with the same stampers, British pressings, you're hearing the roughness and the rock and roll feeling, which got an entire generation into it. This was raw, this was rough, this was new, and I love it. I noticed the same thing on this early, I believe this is the first Dutch stereo pressing. Again, different takes from time to time of songs. But this is not a bad stereo copy. And again, I hear a borderline edginess in the vocals, going towards distortion, not fully distorted, but it gives the record edge. In this case, I think there's a very close winner. the originals. The originals beat the monos. In this case, not in the case of With the Beatles. And again, an album like Please Please Me, it's hard to find an original. Go with the right stampers. Now, I'm gonna do the other albums in another video, but I can imagine some people wanna reply with, why are there no Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab pressings in your list? Well, that's a very easy answer. The Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab pressings were mostly not pressed using the original masters. Now, there are a lot of Mofi fans, but these Mofi fans pay a lot of money for a Mofi. So from time to time, and I'm not saying that all of them are the same, people tend to want to hear more in them than there are. Now, there's also a difference, because the box set of Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab has a different mastering, has different stampers than the single editions. So it's also hard to find out which is which. And I believe not all of them did not use the original masters, but something was going on. And if you've got a Mofi and you're happy with it, please feel free to enjoy it. I'm also a Mofi fan, but let's be frank. The Mobile Fidelity from the early 70s and 80s is not the same Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab they are today, and these pressings are incredibly expensive. And in the case of the Beatles, you do not know what you get. So that's my advice, and I'll see you in the next video, in which I'm gonna keep on working through the discography of the Beatles and try to find out what are the best pressings. See you in the next video.